guys, we're going to cover 5B typography to shape, using typography as shape. And I'm going to start out with an 11 by 17 inch document in Illustrator. I'm going to make two artboards just so I have one for my next round. I told you in the directions that you could make a new file and actually use one for your colored version, but I'm just going to put it all in one file. Let's look at the directions here. Choose a font that will suit your needs. I already have my 11 by 17 format. I'm going to combine the hand-created composition, which I've already done, and we'll look at that later in another video. Each letter and number should be an individual element. I'll show you how to do that. Let's go ahead and look for a font that we can deal with. The first thing we need to do is activate our type tool and literally just type out the letters on our keyboard. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can all see it. I'm just going to type them out here. I'm also going to type out lowercase letters and numbers. So once I'm done here, I'm just going to duplicate this by getting my selection tool and holding down the Alt key and dragging that type to duplicate it. And do my lowercase letters. Now remember that you don't have to use every single letter. I think the minimum is 12 or 15, but I want you to use a variety. Try to pick like a couple of letters, a couple of lowercase letters, and a couple of numbers, just so we get a good variety. The other thing that I'm going to do after this is try to pick a typeface that I enjoy. My aesthetic is more towards the clean, crisp, straight-lined, maybe even really thick, like architectural, heavy-weighted types. Some of the thin, more elegant types. Very little serif fonts. I pick serifs are the little feet that come out of some typefaces, like Times New Roman is a classic one. Garamond is another one that have little feet on the ends, which makes the typeface easier to read. It's probably why you see them mostly in books. But most of the type that I'm going to pick here today are sans serif or without feet. So I'm just going to continue. I really like that one, but I don't think I'm going to choose it later. I think my last one is going to be, let's see, Euro style, maybe. Keep going down. And try to pick like 4 or 5 to pick from. You know, a lot of times that students are looking for typefaces, I caution them on staying away from really frilly or script or calligraphic type fonts because those have a lot of like little idiosyncrasies in the way that they're done. So it will basically cause you mountain loads of headache and frustration trying to get all of those little elements to work. So if you want to go easy to moderate, stay with a basic sans serif font typeface. And I have, 5 or 6 to choose from here. I'm going to choose this one, which I think is Euro style. No, Century Gothic. And I'm going to make some copies of this in black fill, in white fill. But the first thing I'm going to do is to change this from type to a shape. And that's by going up to type, create outlines. And once you do this, you can no longer edit this type as type. So if I go to my type tool and try to highlight it, I can't. But I can see those little nodes that make up that shape. So that tells me that it's a shape now. So I can go back to my directions just so we get along here, and I need to ungroup this. I need to stick with one typeface there. Each letter and number should be an individual element, so we can move it around. And we've done create outlines, which is great. There we go, ungroup the type. We need to do that. So we're going to go back to our original file. We're going to select all of that type and we're going to ungroup. So we've selected it all. I'm going to right click and ungroup. And now when I deselect everything and then click back on a piece of type, I can move each individual piece of type and they're all ready for me to compose on my tabloid sheet artboard. Another thing that I want to do is create guides because I need a 1-inch margin all the way around. So I pulled up rulers. It might have already been there, but if rulers aren't available, it's Command R. And I'm just pulling out guides from the rulers at 1-inch margins. So there's my workable area. We're going to use a clipping mask to help solidify and knock that. And so we get a really crisp cut later on. I'm just moving over my artboard. It's a little too close. And I think I'm going to move over my type here just to give me some more breathing room, maybe make it smaller. And now I'm going to select my type. I'm going to keep one of them filled with white. I'm going to do one with filled with black, and I'm going to make one an outline with white and an outline with black. But I'll do this in a minute. I think I thought of it later as I was working, so I'm going to go ahead and keep playing through this, and if something comes up, something special of note, I'll pause the video and have something to tell you. But have fun. A lot of times when you see me work, I place things, I rotate things around. I will switch them from being black fill to white fill to an outline to a white outline. I never really know until it happens what is going to work. So the best advice I can give you is to just play around with things. I want you to make note, and it was in the handout, is that I want you to keep in mind tiny little areas that are inconsistent or that stand out as distracting. And these areas, if you keep in a zoomed out, like right now, my composition as a whole is pretty zoomed out because I'm working with really large shapes or expanding those letters into large shapes. And maybe that's another piece of advice, like work from large to small. But once you get into this, once you start working on smaller pieces, please zoom into your composition. Command plus, option scroll wheel on your mouse, zoom in, zoom out. Always make sure that your composition is pleasing. Always make sure that you're taking into account positive and negative space. Always make sure that you are utilizing white space, right? A lot of students keep or like to keep their composition super busy. Don't do that. Be frugal with your space. We will keep going with this. Again, if something comes up, I'll make special note of it. Things will change a lot. Some things will change a little. We will move on to our next video soon. Alright guys, see you then. Take care.